We are Rogue Media Sports.
I would say the Suns and the Rockets. Those are the only good ones. It's the Cam Show. It's Rogue Media Sports Network inside the Colt Brennan Memorial Studio, high above the street in Waco, Texas. Cam Stewart, Scotty Swingler, bringing you the stuff today on this Thursday. I am going to the Bruins game tonight. That will be brought up several times throughout this show. Bruins Stars tonight. Cannot wait. The Boston Celtics with an unbelievable bounce back after such a setback in the NBA Cup that would break a lot of teams. It would send a lot of teams reeling. Not the case. Not the case with these Boston Celtics. They come out with a dominant victory. They win by 25 points. They set a new season high in points, 139-114 in Brooklyn. At the end, there was all these "Let's go Celtics" chants. Of course, they take over the building. Just like what will happen in Dallas tonight if the Bruins actually score a goal. Maybe. Holding out hope. And then the Celtics, they go in and they just wreck their momentum. They wreck their momentum big time after one of the most lopsided victories of the season. Nice bounce back. Perfect bounce back. Everyone looked good. Tatum had a great game. They come out with this morning. Two thumbs down. We kind of knew this was coming. We had seen the leaks of it. But those suck. I'm sorry. I know I've been really old man lately with the NBA Cup court and now this, but those suck. And truly, the NBA is getting very watered down with these uniforms. They're trying to do the new city editions every year. And I like the thought behind it. But now there's no thought behind it because they've done it for 7 or 8 years now. And the design teams at Nike are running out of ideas. We're seeing it through all Nike's uniforms, college football, the Premier League, the NBA. They're out of ideas. And they will never do this. But instead of going with like local fan graphic design people and coming up with ideas through that, they instead just, have some department that throws together like, what if the Celtics had a black jersey? And they're like, well, they already do. Well, what if the color was neon instead of the green that they're really famous for? Ooh, son of a bitch, I'm in, is apparently how it went in Beaverton, Oregon, as they made this decision. Because I'm sorry, these stink. And there's like 2 that are good in the whole league right now. And they've just, they don't, it's not like they have run out of ideas. It's that they don't want ideas. They just want like different colors. They don't think like, how can we actually make this unique? They just think different colors. And I think someone in the Nike graphic design, sector really mailed this one in. Someone at Nike said, what I think we can do with this, and maybe no one will notice, is why don't we make it look just like this jersey we do in college basketball? Oh, that's right. I forgot. It's exactly like the Michigan State jersey. Exactly like it. Dark colored jersey, neon letters. I mean, maybe that Michigan State one is deep green rather than the black that the Celtics are going with, but who knows the difference? And the Celtics like slightly different font than what they normally have. Wow, that's going to get the thing buzzing. Like that stinks, man. Where is the creativity? Here we are dealing with the most prestigious franchise in the NBA, and this is the best we can come up with. Like, maybe the Celtics need to start being like the Yankees and just poo-pooing the fun and just saying, no, we're not doing this shit. You guys, the rest of you, 29 other teams can play your silly little game with the new jerseys every year that you can charge $150 for. But we've got a good couple here. We've got the green, we've got the white, always classic. We already have a good black jersey. The black with the green, that green really pops off it. I think it looks really good. That was their second City Edition jersey, and they've stuck with it as an alternate. I think it's a good jersey. They've had some good throwbacks. That City Edition in 21-22, which I have. It's a Tatum jersey. It's awesome. It's like the old Celtics script. It's got the name below the number on the back, which I think looks kind of cool. It's got all the championship years in the bottom corner. Like, that was a good, homage to history in the City Edition jersey. And now it's just like, oh, let's do different colors. Amazingly, the Clippers doubled down on theirs. You remember those awful ones that just said Clips with the big C? They did the same thing with this one. It's just a different color. It's like, brother, nobody liked that. This is like the Morbius fallacy. You know what I mean by that, Scotty? You remember Morbius? That awful movie that's supposed to be the Spider-Verse? It came out like 2 years ago. It was terrible. Jared Leto was in it.
Oh, when you say Morbius, I immediately thought of The Matrix.
No.
But that's Morpheus.
Probably.
Morbius is the vampire movie with Jared Leto.
Sure. Yeah, I never saw it.
I never saw it either.
But it became like a meme at how bad it was, that it was like so bad it was funny. And the studio just completely misread it and put it back out in theaters, and it got no buzz and nobody went to see it. And they were like, oh shit, what did we do wrong? That's what this Clippers thing is. That's what most of these jerseys are. It's like, remember when everyone laughed at this last year? Oh, here it is again, guys. And they're like, no, we still don't like it. Like, it's not so bad it's good. It's so bad it's bad. And
someone took the all press is good press a little too far.
Too far.
Yeah.
Too far. And that's becoming such a thing in today's society, kids these days, because like so much just goes around social media buzz. And so it's easier to just be like, oh, well, look at the traction this got. But it's like, if we were still getting our news from the newspaper, this would have got no traction. None at all. And what bums me out is there are good designs for Celtics jerseys out there. They're made mostly by like fans, and I don't want Nike and the NBA to go and exploit these fans and give them no money, because that's what they would want to do. But I'm saying lean into like some of your local people who know the history of these franchises and come up with some good wacky ideas. We need to go back to like 90s starter jackets for the NFL sidelines. That's where it all went wrong. Once the NFL got rid of those and the shark tooth hats and all, like, starter just died, that's where it all went wrong. We have not been creative in sports fashion ever since. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has not been the same. So we're going to roll this video here. I want it to, if we could, Scotty, if I could talk over it, because I want to go through some of these jerseys. Can we do that? Okay. All right. We're going to have to move it around. So this is pretty simple one. Like, you can have the green and the gold. I love a silhouette on there. These are all by a guy named Peter Rogers, who does them on Twitter. That was his most recent one there. Love this one. You do Massachusetts with the nature there. The T, the Boston subway system. Everyone in Boston would get that. I love throwing a lucky on there. Like, this is actually creative. Make Way for Ducklings, which took place in Boston. You ever read Make Way for Ducklings? It's a great book. Great children's book. Marigold will love it. And like, those are real ideas. Those are real ideas there. People would buy those. In fact, people do buy those. Peter Rogers, who does them after every Celtics win the last 2 seasons, will sell these jerseys, and people buy them. I have one, actually. It doesn't fit me, so I don't really have it anymore. But it's like, those are actual ideas rather than just, black and neon instead of black and green. Like, what is that? And what are the two things on the side there? They did it with their City Edition jerseys last year, which also sucked. Those signify nothing with the Celtics or Boston, and they've doubled down on that design on the side. I'm real old man yelling at Cloud. That sucks. Those suck, man. Like, come on. It's going to bug me because the Celtics are going to wear it a bunch. And I really sincerely hope it does not take over the black jerseys they already have, because those are actually really good. I wore my Derek White one the other day. I wouldn't mind if the Celtics just stuck with those three forever, like the white, the green, the black. But unlike the Yankees, they've done some things, man. The standard jersey has not changed, but they've done some alternates. Like they had when I was a kid, the big one was it was a St. Patrick's Day alternate, but they would wear it other times too, which was the green jersey but with gold. Everything was the same but with gold. And then they had one around the Big Three era where it was green and the letters and numbers were black. And those were like subtle changes and looked very good. And the first couple of City Editions were good. I mentioned the black one was one. They had a gray one that had kind of a parquet design. It was just gray with or silver, I guess if you want to call it that, with green, and it had like faux parquet on it. That also looked solid. But I mentioned the 2021, I think it was 2021 one, was the one that was kind of the old school's 75th anniversary of the Celtics. So that was a good uniform. Other than that, they did those short sleeve jerseys, which everyone in the NBA had, which I could not stand. Where did you stand on those, Scotty? You remember the parquet? The Celtics was the parquet pride, but
yeah, no, I remember. Why do any basketball uniforms need sleeves?
So dumb.
It was dumb. I thought it was dumb.
Oh, so like the Cavaliers had like an iconic moment. They won an NBA championship for the first time ever, and they're wearing fucking short sleeve jerseys,
and
man.
You're talking about innovation. You kind of appreciate the guy who had that idea. Like, what if? Let's really do something. But you then are like, who are the other guys in the room that didn't say,
like, yeah,
why in the world do you need sleeves on an NBA jersey?
They're just as accountable. The bystanders.
I know it.
They are just as culpable.
I appreciate the reach for originality, but it was just horrible.
So what's funny is, you know what I think it was? I think they went, this is like what, 2014 or 15? They started doing this. I think what their reasoning was like, middle-aged fans don't want to wear a tank top jersey. It's going to look ridiculous. But they will wear this.
But they already sell, like, if you're buying something from the fan shop, you can get the t-shirts
that
have the same graphics as the jerseys if you don't want to wear
it's a different thing to buy.
I know it's different.
And you know what sucks for me is, like, I see LeBron out there winning the championship in that short sleeve jersey, and he puts on the NBA championship hat, which is like this big block snapback flat brim. And I'm like, are you understanding the irony here? That you're like, oh, well, the middle-aged men will buy this. And also, here's the championship hat that looks good on 14-year-olds. That like no one was going to do that. And there's nothing wrong with like the snapback hat, but like I'm not going to look good in a flat brim snapback. I'm just not. So I'm going to buy a different one. And I have Celtics hats. I may do, kind of to your point, I may do. And one day I'm probably not going to want to wear tank top jerseys anymore. I've also got shirts that I wear under them. I have sweatshirts, but they were like, this is what's going to
There are other solutions than making NBA players play in sleeves.
God, they were so horrible, man.
That was a weird era.
I am so glad we got past that. That was like a weird NBA era. And what's funny is it's a really revolutionary era, because this is the Golden State dynasty. This is like within 2 years, Steph Curry and Steve Kerr and that team completely changed the way basketball was played.
Yep.
All the way down. Like all the way down. The game is not the same as it was 10 years ago. And that's fine, whatever. But what's funny to me is it's really like not a great era if you're not a Warriors fan. Because, the Spurs dynasty is coming to an end. And it's just LeBron in the East. And so if you're not a fan of those two teams, it's not fun.
You know, Cam, I actually have a different opinion.
Please,
I
because I hated it.
I'm a Mavs fan, so
Yeah.
neither of these teams were my teams at all. And those late Dirk years before Luka were really rough. I loved the drama of LeBron dragging those Cavs teams to face the Warriors again and again.
Maybe it's because I was in the Eastern Conference, man.
The drama of like this huge dynasty that we're talking about in the same breath as the 90s Bulls, and the only man that can stop them is the greatest player ever. Like, I actually thoroughly enjoy watching.
Well, you're a big
finals.
LeBron guy.
I am a big
You're a
LeBron
big
guy.
LeBron guy. I'm not.
Can I share the stat I shared with you earlier this morning?
Yes. I guess I did find this fascinating.
LeBron James last night became
LeBron
the
James.
oldest basketball player to record 3 triple doubles back to back to back at 39 years old, breaking his own record that he set when he was 34 years old.
Damn.
That guy's crazy.
Like, that in and of itself is really surprising that he beats it by 5 years. That's incredible. But also, like, I was thinking when you were talking about it, like whose record he broke, I was thinking like immediately, I don't know, Kareem. He played till he was like 40.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was still had, like, maybe there was one night where he had a bunch of passes, a bunch of assists too. Or, Wilt became a passer one year just because they started counting assists as a stat. And so we loved that and led the league in assists. So I was thinking maybe he had done that, but like 34 is the back nine, but it's not, it's for great players. It's usually not like the end. So I was surprised to hear that he said it at 34. Speaking of Nike, by the way, we were talking about this was actually Adidas when the short sleeve jerseys came out, which, yeah, I'm just not a huge, I don't look back on that era with a bunch of, because again, it was Curry versus LeBron, which, to your point, is great theater. It was, and I watched those finals, but just being a fan of any other team, it stunk. Like, you just knew you weren't going to get there, and you're watching them out there in short sleeve jerseys, and everyone's trying to get in on the 3-point act. And so there's a couple of years where you've got to watch, Amir Johnson and, Giannis and Brook Lopez try and figure out the threes, and some of them do and some of them don't.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez kind of figured out how to shoot it.
Yeah.
But it was like, those trial run years of everyone shooting threes was tough for a lot of teams.
Well,
a lot of teams.
I think I got really fortunate, and lucky that you are rooting for a franchise that is used to winning championships.
Yeah.
My franchise finally got our first in 2011. And that was like the Dirk Nowitzki crowning achievement. And so I was
big prime snapback era, by the way.
Right. Oh yeah.
That's a tough championship hat.
Oh yeah. And
tough.
so, even though you're right, there was no oh, my team has a chance. I was like, hey, we got ours. Dirk's in the, final era. It's okay.
Yep.
I was very content as a Mavs fan.
I was not. I was so not. But speaking of Nike, who was rolling out these abomination uniforms, they are also clapping back at Jaylen Brown. You might remember in the summer, Jaylen Brown did not make Team USA, and he insinuated that Nike might have something to do with this. Because obviously, Nike does have a big grip on basketball in this country and really in the world. They were early on that game, and they really took it over in the 80s, and it's not been the same since. You can watch the terrible Matt Damon movie if you'd like. But the quote the other day after Giannis did the psych to Jaylen Brown was, after the game, Brown said, "Giannis is a child, and I'm just trying to help my team win, and that's what we did today." Giannis had a big game last night, 59 for the Greek Freak, and the Bucks have won 2 in a row. Ever since NBA Centel tweeted out that Doc Rivers is going to try now, which I thought was a really funny tweet. Giannis gets 59, and Nike responds. And if you didn't get any sort of conspiratorial before, you might just now. Nike basketball tweets out, "Nothing childish about him. 59 for the Greek Freak." Because now you're feeding into it. Now you are feeding into the Nike, the Jaylen Brown, all that kind of conspiracy theory stuff. It's all there. Not a good move for Nike, I think. Not a good Nike move. But then again, Jaylen Brown started it. So I also can't knock him for clapping back at it. But when Nike says, no, we don't have anything to do with this, nothing to do with Team USA basketball, not part of this process at all. This is silly. This is conspiratorial. And then you come with that. I'm just saying. It's there. Oh, man. I hope this just pisses Jaylen off. He's cruised a little bit the last couple games. Had a nice game last night. But, coming back from that injury, cruising a little bit, now they might have pissed him off again, which is good. I was surprised that Jaylen kind of took it that seriously. I don't know about you, Scotty, but you saw the video. I mean, it's just, but what it was right after, and I should have included this in the video. That's on me. That's bad journalism. It was right after Giannis had got away with an elbow on JB. So he had kind of given him an elbow, scored, and gone down, and he was kind of like, yo, it's all good, bro. And then did that and then went back for it. So I can understand why Jaylen's kind of pissed there because, again, we talked about it. Like, Giannis is getting the Giannis calls and has for years, and that's what superstars do in the NBA. And I think what the Celtics are pissed about is they don't feel they are getting those calls. And I don't really think they are either, which, as a basketball fan, I'm okay with. I don't want them getting calls that aren't calls, because that's what I think Giannis gets. I think LeBron gets it. I think Luka probably gets it because these guys are the top of the league. Embiid probably gets it when he plays, if and when he ever plays. I saw a headline, by the way, yesterday. It was like, I don't know who the Sixers were facing. And it was Paul George and Joel Embiid out for this game. I was like, do you even need to put that anymore? Like, how about you just put up breaking news when they do play? Like, this is not going to happen. Has he played in a game this year, Joel? I think he might have played in one. But that sounds weird, right? Joel Embiid game log. He played one game. He played one game on Tuesday. They played again last night. They played Cleveland last night. That's what it was. And so he didn't play on a second night of a back-to-back. He's 30 years old.
They're saving him for the postseason.
Meanwhile, the guy who hates load management most, and I guess I'll give this guy his props again, LeBron, 3 straight games of the triple-double, 39. Again, I said this, man. It was kind of a blow session of LeBron a couple weeks ago. Is like, I think we were talking about Embiid. The guy is always healthy. Always. Like, there has been no, like, more impressive longevity career with no major injuries. He's never had an Achilles, never had an ACL.
I mean, he had that one season. He missed like half the season. I forget.
Was that with the Lakers?
Yeah.
Early on.
It was like 3 seasons.
Yeah, kind of a nagging injury. Yeah. But he's 39, and that's it. Yeah. He's the best player in the sport. He's at times an unstoppable force. Those guys usually get hurt more, like Giannis.
Well, this might be sacrilegious to you, but and I understand the championship record, but the only comp for that is Tom Brady. Brady had an ACL. One serious injury, but otherwise, unbelievable health, longevity, was still playing great football late. Like,
yes, and dragged teams to the finals.
Yeah. And it's all about, and I know Brady is really known for this more than LeBron, but LeBron does it too. They are such freaks, like OCD about their diet and their exercise regimen and all of it. Like,
I think LeBron actually was inspired by Brady.
And I'd believe it, right? Like the body science to all of it is crazy.
And what Brady and LeBron have in common, like most to me, is and Mahomes is going through it right now. They have a vice grip on their conference. I said this with LeBron recently. It's like those years in Cleveland, him being on the team and in the Eastern Conference dictated how other teams in the conference did business. When they were going to blow it up, when they were going to make trades, when they were going to go all in, all had to do with that. And it was the same way with Brady in the AFC. And with Mahomes now in the AFC, teams thinking, we've really got it all right here, but is it going to be enough? Well, it's going to be Mahomes for the next 5 years, and this thing isn't really working out, so maybe let's tank here. Like that, those guys, the vice grip on it. Vice grip. So that's a comp. Yeah. I'm not a LeBron guy because of where I grew up and playing against him so long. Well, not me, but I wasn't playing against him.
I'd pay to see that.
But that would be funny, man. Could I get a basket?
No,
I couldn't. I couldn't.
But most humans could, so that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could play for the Dream Team, which is the Baylor women's basketball practice squad, and I would not be able to score a basket there either, to be fair. So I don't like LeBron, but that's obviously like a personal rivalry thing. I think he's the second best player of all time. I think you think he's the best, which is fine.
I do.
I understand the argument. Like I think at worst he's the second best.
Well, and
that's just where I think he is.
That's the correct take, right? Like the people that are really haters. Oh, he might be top 5 bozos, but I can.
Yeah, well, I think Larry Bird's the best ever. So yeah. I will say about Larry Bird, which people think this take is ridiculous, but I stick by it. Is like obviously LeBron has the better career. Obviously. Okay, let's get that out.
What?
Obviously, longevity, MVPs, correct. At their peak, very similar players, and there's nothing that LeBron does like so much better than Larry Bird did. Better athlete? Sure. Yeah, of course, better athlete than almost anyone who's ever walked the earth. Okay. But in terms of what they can do on the basketball court, it's not all that much different. And Larry Bird was a better shooter. Take that for what it's worth. But LeBron has the 20 years of the league and 4 championships. 4. Right? Larry had 3 MVPs.
I haven't watched enough archival footage to say this with a ton of confidence, but I struggle to imagine Larry Bird getting a chase down block.
Well, see, that's the athleticism thing. Thing. Watch the tapes. Watch the tapes. There comes a moment in every basketball fan's life where they really discover Larry Bird and they realize what a dude this guy was. Pete saw it a long time ago, but I'm telling you, basketball fans at one point in their life, they start watching Larry Bird stuff and they realize this dude was different. I'm not saying he's LeBron, Scotty. I'm not saying it. I'll concede it. But tune in to Larry Bird and tell me what you think. We are going to talk a little bit of Bruins. I don't know if you've heard. I'm going to the game tonight. We're also going to get Pete's opinions on some things later on in the show. But Bees Talk, that's next.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this, we got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe more relaxed.
What were a couple of your biggest takeaways? The person you referred to that I spoke with, I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that.
Has the general manager changed at all in the draft room? Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
So there was a guy named Richard Head who was the Speaker of the House for Tennessee, Dick Head, and his sister was pretty famous. Her name was Pat Head. You might know her as Pat Summitt. Bang. Bang. How about that? How about that for you, Scotty? Pat Summitt's brother's a dickhead.
This is when we need J-Mo to say, "Did you know?"
This moment in dickhead history. God, I love J-Mo. He's the best, dude. He is the best. John Morris, voice of the Baylor Bears, for those who don't know. I'm going to the Bruins game tonight. This is my Christmas, but if Christmas you knew was going to be a major disappointment. You know, like you knew Santa was going to be stuck in the chimney and slowly suffocating to death. And you didn't actually hear it or see it, but you just smell his rotting body in the chimney a couple weeks later. That's what this Christmas is like for me to go see the Bruins against the Dallas Stars tonight at the AAC in Dallas. That said, as we mentioned yesterday, I am 3-0. 3-0 in games, Bruins games at the AAC. So it's happened before. That's all I'm saying. But once a year, I do this. I haven't been to a Bruins home game in a decade. What's today? Today's the 14th. I think it was November 12th, 2014 was the last time I went to a Bruins home game. That's fucked up. That's hitting me right now. Oh, it sucks, man. That really sucks. They beat Carolina. It was 3-2. We were in a suite. It's the only time I've ever been in a suite for the Bruins game. Got there on some company tickets from my dad, and I was sick as a dog because this time every year I get allergies knock me the fuck out. It will probably be this weekend. I'm such a baby when I get sick, dude. Like, it's going to happen. But I was not missing a Bruins game in a suite. So I called into work at my Domino's job that day and went to the Bruins game, just so sick, wearing a jacket over my jersey, over a sweatshirt inside. And the Bruins won. Patrice Bergeron scored twice. I think it was actually 2-1 now that I think about it, not 3-2. And I think Bergeron scored both goals. Anyway, so once a year I go to these games. It's always in Dallas. And what I do is I scam the system. I'm okay to do this now because I'm going to move in a couple weeks. So I probably won't be doing another Bruins and Dallas game. I will join a Dallas Stars season ticket holders group, Facebook group that does ticket selling, when the season ticket holders can't go to the game. So you get a good deal on it. You don't get any of the extra fees. And it's a pretty good process. It's all vetted, which is great. They have a whole list of people. If it's they're not on this list, don't buy it from them. And the last 2 years, and then this one, I have gone in there and bought tickets off season ticket holders and don't mention what team I'm rooting for or anything. And so this year I got a good deal. Now these are still expensive. I spent over $100 a ticket because I want to sit in the lower bowl. I don't want to do the nosebleeds if I don't have to. If I'm going to do it once a year, I'm not going to do the nosebleeds. If I'm going to go to an NBA Finals game, sure. I did sit in the nosebleeds. So here's what the guy said to me this time. He was telling about what the seats are. The seats are great. It's my third year with them. They're about 5 rows up from the visitors' tunnel, so you can heckle the opposing team if you want. And I'm like, I will surely do that because it is the Boston Bruins tonight, and I'll cheer them coming out, but there's a good chance I'll heckle them coming back in when they lose 8-1 to Dallas. And of course, in that scenario, they hold the Stars scoreless in the third period. That would not stun me at all, even though the Bruins are coming off their best win of the season, not the best performance of the season, but 3 unanswered goals in the third period to win it 3-2 in regulation in St. Louis. But I doubt they win tonight. I've seen some great games there. In fact, 2 years ago when the Bruins had the wins record, it was a fantastic hockey game. Linus Ullmark versus Jake Ottinger, two of the best goalies in the game. Of course, Ullmark won the Vezina that year. Great goaltending performance. It was a back and forth. The Bruins went up 1-0 and then down 2-1 and tied it late in the third and won it on a classic David Pastrnak one-timer in overtime. And that game was the only time I had heard in any of those previous three something of a chirp from Dallas fans. And that was as soon as like the game got underway. Again, the Bruins are running away with the regular season, like the President's Trophy. They're by far the best team in the league. And as soon as the pucks drop, this guy like two rows ahead of me just goes, "Yeah, Boston sucks." And all I said was, "Yeah, clearly." And that was it. That was it. Maybe I'll get heckled tonight, but you kind of have to poke the bear a little bit to get heckled in Dallas. That's not the case in the Northeast. Pete will tell you. I will tell you. But the Bruins come into this thing with momentum, but is it fool's gold? Like, again, they played okay those first two periods in St. Louis, but they gave up 2 power play goals to the worst power play team in the league, the only team that's worse than you in the power play. And they, had a nice third period to overcome that. But to me, it doesn't excuse what Jim Montgomery, what his resume is and how it stands with this Bruins team. And a lot of people wanted Jim Montgomery fired before that game in St. Louis, and plenty more wanted him fired after the first 2 periods. And then the Bruins scored 3 in the third, and all is forgiven. And while I, again, don't think that this is all Jim Montgomery's fault, don't get me wrong, they're not making adjustments. Like, they're not getting better. Their power play still sucks. Their penalty kill still sucks. They're still taking more penalties than anyone in the league. So it just happens to be on a night where, you're playing a team just as bad as you, and you play a pretty good third period, and you get some puck luck. That doesn't mean that this thing is okay. And it doesn't mean that this is the right captain for the ship. Because if you're asking me, I think they need to get rid of the GM. I think they need to get rid of Don Sweeney and Jim Montgomery and probably a core player or two and start this thing over again. But the GM is not going to get fired before the coach. And never does a GM get to fire 3 coaches, but that's what's going to happen here in Boston. Because what is the identity? What is Jim Montgomery hockey? And how is it going to turn into wins here in the very near future? I don't see how that happens. They still have an immense talent gap. And by that, I mean they don't have any. David Pastrnak, good goal scorer. On their right nights, you have good defensemen, but you haven't had that this year. Charlie McAvoy's been a shell of himself most of the year, had a nice goal the other night against St. Louis. Brandon Carlo is just, getting cardio out there. He is killing you. He went from a plus 44. I actually got this from the Bruins Benders podcast the other night. He went from a plus 44 in 2023 to a plus 23 last year to a 0 right now. Just nothing. And if you see his play, you'd be surprised it's not a minus, man. He's taking penalties. He's not moving the puck. He obviously doesn't give you anything offensively, but at least he could move the puck out of his own zone. The only good offensive defenseman you have right now is going to be out a while. Rich Keefe from WEEI reporting that Hampus Lindholm has a shattered kneecap or a fractured kneecap, whatever it may be. And he's pretty good on this Bruin stuff. He's got some Bruin sources in there. And he's actually been playing well, Hampus Lindholm, and now he's out for a long time. Low Rye, for some reason, you still don't have any confidence in. He scored his first career goal there last year. I was there. So you're not giving him any kind of confidence. And Charlie McAvoy is still running this power play, and he shouldn't be. This team is just David Pastrnak taking 8 or 10 shots a game. And if that's what it's going to be, so be it. But you talk about not having any secondary scoring. You thought you didn't have it 2-3 years ago. You really don't have it now. I just don't see how this turns around quickly because I don't think they have the talent to. And I think we're going to see Jonas Korpisalo tonight, which I should get a refund for having to watch Jonas Corposalo. I'm sorry. If I'm paying over $100, I should see Jeremy Swayman in the nets. But I think it's probably going to be Corposalo against future USA goaltender Jake Ottinger, future USA backup goaltender Jake Ottinger. So I can't wait for that. I'm still going to be excited about it. But there is a big order of business that I need to go over before I head out to Dallas tonight. I'm going to ask Pete Souza about it. I'm going to ask Scotty about it. We're going to need to decide which sweater I will be wearing to the AAC tonight. That is coming up next on the Cam Show.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
It is Matt Mosley, and it's the Obstructed View podcast, Rogue Media Network. I think they're learning that there's really no wonderful view of me. See, I feel like they think this feed's going to be really wonderful.
There must have been no BS, like 20 scouts, 15 to 20 NBA scouts there to see him, and he was top 5.
When your old number wasn't working, I went through various channels to track you down. So unfortunately, you can never get away from me. But I'm happy. Man. I'm happy to have you today.
No, thanks for having me. And we always family, no matter where I'm at.
I mean, yeah, a new coach comes in, they're going to turn the roster. I think that's just we've got all these transfer portal stats and what Dion did and what Fritz has done. I mean, that's the deal, man. That's the game that's being played nowadays.
Maybe a little bit unknown at quarterback. I mean, unknown to the rest of the world, but he dove into the portal and got a guy who is super, super athletic.
South Dakota State's really good. Give us a little bit of breakdown about what they can do and what Oklahoma State needs to be worried about.
But look at that form right there. I need to say nothing else about this because I found one.
It's Thursday, day after hump day, day before Friday. I love a good Thursday. Pete, you like Thursdays?
It's probably my favorite day.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it goes back to, of course, sports and drinking and girls.
Sure.
But
yeah, I like girls.
Thursday, early in my life, Thursday was, I remember when ESPN started to do Thursday Night Football, which was like, used to blow my mind. And then when I was
like NFL or college?
College.
Yeah.
And then when I was in college, Thursday night was the big night you would drink.
Oh.
And then when
that's what's good about it is if you need to, like, you can go out, you can have a night and you just power through Friday and you're good.
Yeah,
you can have another one. You know what I mean?
like
Thursday feels like you can get away with
college.
Like today, I don't feel like I'm going to be home at midnight and back in here tomorrow morning, but like, it's whatever.
It's you don't care.
It's Friday.
Yeah. I mean, dude, doing morning news for as long as I did, like I could do so, and I wasn't drinking, but I would go out late or whatever. It didn't matter. An hour of sleep going into Friday didn't matter because you just powered through.
That's the Warriors code, I think.
Is it?
So I saw today, before we get into the sweaters thing, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
I saw today, like, one of the original movie posters for Rocky, like, being played on cable.
Yeah.
And the tagline of the movie said, like, he was 1,000,000 to 1 underdog until he met her. And I was like, what? Like, he's still a massive underdog. Like, he's still facing the heavyweight champion of the world. Yeah, but she
told him to believe, Cam.
Yeah, but like he was already in the fight. Like, he was going to do the fight. He was still an underdog.
I think it means like
that didn't make him a favorite.
No. I think you're getting.
Oh shit! He's got a girlfriend now.
You're getting
the woman from the pet shop.
You're getting it messed up. He was 1,000,000-to-1 underdog in life because the story isn't so much about the fighter; it's about the man.
And it's really not a love story.
No,
there's a love angle to it.
There's a love angle to it. You could say that. I mean, she really threw a lot of water on the party, like when you get into Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, but it was necessary. Rocky was running a little hot there, making some decisions that were, could really
that was like we know.
future.
Yeah, that was like we know Talia Shire can yell. We saw it in the Godfather movies. Like, let's incorporate some of that.
Yes, totally. And she on that beach scene in Rocky 3 is unbelievable. She really acts like Sylvester Stallone. If the two of them are duking it out, like in an acting moment there, like he gets boat raced by her. I mean, she's unbelievable. And so
what a career too.
Talia, yeah, sure. Yeah. And she resurfaced in a show I watched recently called Kingdom about MMA fighters, which was amazing.
She was in it?
Yeah, it got lost in the shuffle. She played the kind of like the anti-hero Alvy. She played his wife, Frank Grillo, or his mom.
She's 78.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She's not been married in 30 years.
She has. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, it's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Her mom's name is Italia. That's awesome.
She's related to I think she's related to not Scorsese. Coppola, yeah.
Yeah, it's her brother.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm trying to see like her obviously she was in other things, but she was pretty like selective after Rocky and The Godfathers.
Give me the IMDb.
I'm on her filmography right now.
Huh?
I'm on her filmography on Wikipedia.
Well, whatever. Give me the
after Rocky 1. So she doesn't work until 79. She's in Old Boyfriends, Prophecy, and Rocky 2.
Okay.
In something called Windows in 1980. And then her next two movies are both Rockies, Rocky 3 in 82, Rocky 4 in 85. So again, 2 movies in 5 years. They're both Rockies. She's in a couple that you've never heard of from 86.
Try me.
Rad and Hyper Sapien, People from Another Star.
For sure, had heard of.
New York Stories in 89, so another 3-year gap. 1990, she's in Rocky 5 and Godfather Part 3.
Oh, man, those were 2 big time.
Like unbelievable. Like think of the money she got for them though. Like fuck, twice in the same year you got to go to that premiere and be like, "Oh, these really suck." These really suck. And one of them is her niece in Godfather Part 3,
right?
Sofia Coppola, who's a really good director.
Mm-hmm.
So she made it out okay. But then again, 92, 93, not again until 97. In 98, 99, she's in a bunch of plays because they don't have Wikipedia pages. Cold Heaven, Bed and Breakfast, Deadfall, River Made to Drown In, She's So Lovely, where she's an uncredited restaurant owner.
Unbelievable. I don't know any of these.
The Visit, The Whole Shebang, Kiss the Bride, I Heart Huckabees. Rocky Balboa is archival footage, so she got paid for that. Homo erectus in 2007. Dim Sum Funeral, Minkow, Palo Alto, Dreamland, Working Man. And do you know what the most recent thing she has been in for a movie?
What?
Megalopolis 2024.
Oh, of course. Which was another.
And her name is Constance in that, which is her name in The Godfather.
An epic bomb, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Big time.
What happened to that movie?
I guess it's just really confusing. I've never seen it. I have not seen it yet.
Is that who's that made for?
Like, I guess the real film buffs.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't even know what it's about.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be like, I don't know, some sort of.
It's a world within a world. I tried to figure it out. And
like,
my brain was like, we don't have the capacity.
Like, Francis is like 80 years old, man. You've done it, man. You've made some of the best movies ever.
Yeah.
Same with Scorsese.
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon would be a great swan song for Scorsese.
Yes.
But he's doing that miniseries, that Jesus thing. He's big into it. He's a big religious guy.
I'll tell you who gets on my last nerve before I know you want to do the sweaters.
Yeah.
Oh God, I heard it walking over.
There's
here.
something else.
You mentioned Jesus. I thought Hosier.
Take Me to Church. Yeah.
Who is that guy?
Scotty's probably a big fan.
Talk about no.
Honestly,
I love. First of all,
I've heard like 2 songs. It does. I think
am-
Grace is a fan.
I'm God Squad. Okay.
Yeah.
I've said that.
We're a couple believers in here.
So, but here's the deal. Like, Hosier's just taking himself way too seriously. If any, I'm like, what is this guy? Like, I can't handle it. And the people that like Hosier, well, that's another level of I don't know. I struggle. I don't know why.
Douchebotchery, if you will.
I worry about alienating the very few listeners or viewers I have, but it's the truth. I mean, I'm not a huge Hosier guy.
Oh, I've got the question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we talk about Rocky, it's got a love angle to it, but it's not necessarily a love story. Well, in and of itself, it is, right? But what is the worst, most forced love story in a sports movie ever? There's really only one answer to this. I want to see if you get it. Scotty, you could chime in too if you'd like. If you got one. There's a couple that are pretty bad.
Somebody say something while I'm thinking, because now
he is fucking frozen right now.
Oh, Hoosiers.
Yes,
Hoosiers.
yes, correct answer.
Yes, Norman Dale.
Yes, fuck yeah.
That is so stupid.
It's so dumb.
Yes.
It doesn't need it at all.
Nobody needs to watch Gene Hackman kiss ever.
Barbara Hershey, man. Yeah.
It's so weird when he kisses her by that fence. It was so bad that watching with my parents as a kid, I didn't even feel awkward. It was just
so
like,
weird.
Horrible scene.
I remember my dad telling me it before, because he was like, that was one of those movies, like, you got to watch this movie. We rented it from the library when I was like 9, the local library. And he was like, there's a stupid love story in it. Like, just so you know. And this is back. So it comes out in 86. And back then you couldn't have a movie without a love story. Really. And I'm glad we've moved past that, because not every movie needs a love story, especially a sports movie.
No.
So like I compare it to Friday Night Lights, which is probably my favorite sports movie. And that Hoosiers are 1-2. And like Hoosiers just get so forced into it. And Friday Night Lights doesn't have one at all, because they're both really the same thing. And this is where I'm going to sound douchey and critical, but it's like the love story does not need to be between 2 people. The love story in Friday Night Lights is like a toxic relationship with the town, with the environment, with Texas high school football and the pressure in this community and all. Indiana high school and basketball, and that's all it needs to be. And yet we just forced in Barbara Hershey because she's single and Norman Dale's like 15 years older than her, and he's there.
It's super weird and gross.
It's I don't like the one in Major League. That's kind of creepy.
You don't like what?
Jake Taylor in Major League, and he's like following that chick,
dude.
like stalking her.
I'm all in on that one. Renee Russo. That is like sneaky prime Renee Russo right after Supermodel.
She looks fine, Pete. She looks fine. Yeah. I'm talking about the love story. It's weird. He stalks her.
Dude, he's Jake Taylor. Bite your tongue, dude. That is not
fucking journeyman.
When he's in love. When he goes and meets her at the library and he says, Lynn, I'm back and I'm going to be around. It's so awesome. And then he shows up at the elevator or at her house, and it's a
he shows up at the elevator at her apartment. Yep. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
It was a little much.
It's a different time.
Different time. Personally, I was out on when he follows her home in his uniform. And I was like, this is too much.
Honorable mention, Glenn Close in The Natural.
Yeah, that was risky business. The whole thing was just like, again, it was.
And when you think about it, The Natural, I think it's a great movie still. It's a very dumb plot when you think about it for more than like 10 seconds. So he's an up and coming player, and this woman just wants to shoot him. She's crazy. She wants to shoot him. He's never heard from again. And then 15 years later, he comes back. And like, that's a great story. But we also don't need like the kid and Glenn Close. It's like he's making a great comeback. Can the love story be between him and baseball? Does it need to be a woman with a guy's name?
I would challenge you and say, without that, The Natural doesn't get the traction.
Probably doesn't
to be The Natural.
And it's also that time frame.
It was very well
84.
done, like movie.
Yes.
It really
yes,
was.
it's not supposed to be a sports movie, really.
On the
it's
other
not supposed
side,
to be just cheesy sports movie. It's a big release that also has cheesy. And
one last thing on this. On the other side, Beverly Hills Cop was actually the opposite in a sense, where they weren't quite ready for mixed relationships on screen and like major budget films. And like Eddie Murphy, you know, with his the woman he knows from Detroit, who's now like working for an art dealer in LA. Like, it's so like, okay, these two are going to have sex.
Well,
They're going to hook up.
Yeah.
They're going to hook up. And they never do. Jenny Summers. And, you know, that was, it was written about and covered. Like, people weren't ready for it. It was taken out of the
He can have platonic female friends.
You sure can.
I've had one or two of those in my life.
But Cam, we're talking about, this is a movie that didn't have a love story.
I know. Which I appreciate. Like any movie that doesn't have a love story, I appreciate it.
Yeah, me too.
At this point, because I see things like Hoosiers, which is a great movie. I mean, it nails the cheesy sports genre.
Yeah.
I've heard people tell me, like, oh, don't you think that's too cheesy? I'm like, nope.
Not at all.
If we're going to do it, that nails it.
Yeah.
That nails it.
Most underrated sports movie ever, Wildcats, Goldie Hawn.
Doubt it. Most underrated, I think, is Glory Road, about the 1966 Texas Western team. Pete, you seen it?
I've never seen it.
Pete, it's a really good movie.
All
The
right.
gameplay is awesome. Like they have visual details, nailed it. Good acting. What's his name as Don Haskins? I want to say Josh Brolin. That's right. Josh Lucas. Derek Luke, who plays Boobie Miles, and is Bobby Joe Hill in this. And I love the Texas Western story. So I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of that. Before we got to get out of here in a minute, but this is decision time. Scotty, do we have the bathroom selfies? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. To Pete and Scotty, which one am I wearing tonight?
I go either yellow or black for sure right away.
All right, you're not going with the cream.
I think yellow.
Yellow, the 2010 Winter Classic. The black one is a 1970 Bobby Orr jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's
4.
important. What are the names on the back? I'm
Okay,
sorry.
so Bobby Orr is the black one. The cream one is their alternate for 100th anniversary last year's. I love the 1924. It's Charlie McAvoy, current player, obviously. And the other one is Bruins great former captain Zdeno Chara on the Winter Classic jersey. And if you need the numbers, that's 4 going right to left, 4, 73, and 33.
I think I'm going Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr. 1 vote for Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
The greatest ever. Scotty's thinking.
Yeah, no, before you even said it was Bobby Orr, I was going to say, I didn't mean to put myself in the middle. That's terrible.
Go ahead. No.
Come on.
We fixed it.
You're running the show here.
I know it. I like the black better to begin with.
Okay.
I think black's just a safe color. You've got the black hoodie.
Plus,
on
it's
today.
very
Looks good.
Bruins, right?
It is.
Stands
and
out.
now that I know it's Bobby Orr, I think you got to do it.
Because you know what? When people see me in the Bobby Orr jersey, you know what they're going to say?
That's a real Bruins fan.
This kid knows puck. This kid knows puck. He knows who the greatest 3-zone player in the history of the league is.
He's Cam.
Robert Gordon Orr.
I think I think also, like, I'm a big old school guy.
Me
like,
too.
yeah.
Me too. I love Bobby Orr. Goddamn. Oh, the greatest ever. And I'm ready to defend that tonight. If anyone tries to tell me that Tyler Seguin or Mike Modano or Sergei Zubov are the greatest players ever, I'm ready to defend
People
it.
love Mike Modano, Stars fans. It's crazy.
Mike Modano.
You go to Rally House and you'll see like 5 Mike Modano shirts.
Like he's the best player in their history.
And remember,
And was like a Hall of Famer. He scored 500
and
goals, but
rumored to have dated Pam Anderson the year
Yes.
99, which
Yes.
that was the only reason I heard of him back in 99.
you know what Mike Modano has like a direct comp to in a different sport in terms of like icon of the franchise. Can't make an argument for him being the greatest player ever, but like really great for that franchise, won a championship, iconic. Dirk.
Yeah, totally.
It's the same comp.
Yes.
You know, where someone like you can never make an argument that those guys are the best player in their sport ever.
Yeah.
Like you can't. But everyone will also realize, yeah, that's an all-time great.
And they
That's a
got
great
it
player. That's
done.
a Hall of
And they
Famer.
got it done.
Or
They
Paul
got it
Pierce
done.
would be one.
They
too.
got the championship, man.
Yep.
They got it done.
Yep. Mike
That's-
Modano.
That pains me that like Barkley never got a title.
Duh.
You know?
Ted Williams,
Yeah.
Ernie Banks, Dick Butkus, and Gale Sayers never played in a playoff game.
I was going to say Sayers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marino.
Aaron Hernandez,
He won. Oh, no, he lost.
OJ,
OJ never won.
free
one.
but never a Super Bowl.
I
Anyway,
don't know that OJ played in many playoff games. Yeah, we're still going, Mike.
that would be a good question as
Mike
to whether
comes
he
in here
did.
flying F sharp.
Pete
today.
Souza at 1 o'clock
gonna be one of
live on
those
the
days,
Pete Souza
huh?
Show on YouTube. Thank you to Scotty as well, bringing up all those selfies and breaking the camera there. I am Cam Stewart. We will see you tomorrow on the Cam Show, high noon Eastern time, 11 a.m. Central, here on YouTube, and then wherever you get your podcast. We'll see you then.
You are here with your shoot first point guard, Corey Dickman.
Also, if you're not creating new fans in a small market, then you're not creating that base of people to go to games and pay for merchandise and pay for stuff and concessions at the Moda Center and yada yada.
Yeah, let's talk draft. That's the only thing we have to look forward to. The only thing we have to look forward to. That's what I will teach my son. You will teach your daughter as Blazers fans. It's like, look, the two most exciting times of the year for us are the draft lottery and the draft itself. Like, here we are. This is our thing. Give me some memories and thoughts. I know you had mentioned kind of the first time you had met Bill. What were some of those first memories that came back when you heard the news?
Coming up on the Pete Souza Show, Rogue Media and ESPN's own King McClure talks with us about the NBA draft.
Team is banged
Are
up
you
a
getting
bit.
undressed while we're doing this?
No.
What is happening?
And it's partially because the team has like pretty kind of
Wrong
big problems.
podcast, Nick. Wrong podcast. When you're a golfer, what is the point of no return? He was the best play-by-play announcer around, in my opinion, and he made me want to continue to watch.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. That's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We are Rogue Media Sports.